Hiya crafters, Amy here with amyswares, and I have another 5 and 10 challenge to share with you. Now I'm going to be using this brand spanking new stencil. This is called Corner Blooms, and it's from the March release at A Colorful Life Designs. I'm showing you my coupon on screen, and it will also be below the video with all the products. But this is the prototype that I'm using to create 5 cards in 10 minutes or less. So I'm just showing you the card here, and I'll show you some of the products that I'm going to use to make this happen. I have some mini ink pads from Catherine Pooler. This is Life of the Party, and I'm going to use Flirty Fuchsia, Tiara, and Aquatini are the 3 colors that I'm going to be ink blending with. Now these are very simple in design with regard to the card, and that's how I'm able to make 5 in 10 minutes or less. So I do have a series of these type of videos, and it's not because I'm that short on time. It's just a fun little challenge I like to put on myself to see if I can do it, and to show that, you know, not everything has to be complicated. So that was a picture of the card. Now this prototype is what I'm going to use to model the 5 cards that I'm going to be making. And I have this well-loved stamp from Pink Fresh. It says, "Today is a good day for a good day." Now I made a lot of cards that I donated early on in the pandemic, so that stamp got a lot of use. It hardly even sticks to the paper or to the plastic anymore, but it's still so true, and I'm using that on my design today. So I'm just kind of setting up what I need here. I have the prototype set up in front of me so I know what order to go with the colors. I have the stamp loaded up in my Mini Misty where it needs to go based on the prototype, and I have some blending brushes, and I have my 3 colors. Now I have 5 card bases. These are A2 size, ready to go. They're 110 pound cardstock, Nina Classic Crest Solar White, and I'm just using the magnets on my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station tool to hold down the stencil. But you know, as you can see, there are little delicate bits on this, so I could have absolutely used and probably benefited from putting some pixie spray on there, but all in all, even with the speed that I'm going, it didn't mess anything up. So with these delicate bits, absolutely, if you're more comfortable using pixie spray, it would benefit you in this case, but it worked fine with the magnets. So this very first card I'm going to do in real time so you can see how long it actually takes me, and I have the timer going in the top left corner. But I'm just going to work through these 3 colors. Now, one thing to bear in mind, just because there is going to be a little tiny bit of overlap, you probably want to use colors that are going to get along. So think in terms of, you know, color theory or the color wheel. If you have ones opposite on the color wheel from one another, then they might kind of create a bit of a brown or a muddy color when they overlap. So like you wouldn't want to do like orange and blue right next to each other, because then they might kind of make a less vibrant color. So that's just something to consider when you're picking the colors that you want to use in your design. And now I have it sped up quite a bit for the ink blending on the remaining 4 cards, and then I will slow it down again a little bit so you can see me finish up the cards. And do stick around, I'll show you some other ways that I used this awesome stencil to create somewhat of a little bit of a different look, or other fun ways that you can jazz up the card if you want to make it a little bit more than just a simple ink blending. But the benefit of cards like this would be, you know, great for card drives or card donations, or if you donate to like assisted living homes. Like I mentioned before, my daughter and I, early on in the pandemic, we made hundreds of cards and donated them to like the home where my mom lived at before she passed, as well as other local facilities that were just, you know, really lonely and unable to have visitors. So it was something really fun for my daughter and I to do, something that made us feel good, and obviously crafting is always fun. So, but having a beautiful sentiment like this, that, you know, today is a good day for a good day, that's so versatile. You can use that. I mean, that would put a smile on anyone's face. So just going through using that same tiara color to stamp on these cards, and these are single layer right on the card base, so they would be not only really easy to mass produce, but also easy to ship because there's not any bulk. So I do it just a couple times here just to make sure there's a nice even coverage, and then I'm just going to wipe it off. And then I'm looking here and I've got plenty of time left, so I decided to get out my corner chomper here and just give it a little bit of something extra just to make it a little more visually interesting. And then I decide to use the 1/2 inch side and round off all 5 of these cards. So again, you obviously don't need to go this simple. You don't need to rush. This is just something fun that I like to do for this series. So you can absolutely take your time, dress it up, or leave it like this. I mean, when you have a beautiful stencil like this, it doesn't take much to create a pretty card. So I'm just going to show you some other ways that you can use this stencil. I have obviously the 5 that I just made and the prototype, but I had so much fun playing when I first got the stencil. I wanted to figure out what colors I wanted to use for the challenge, but I also just tried playing with it and tried it in different ways. So here I'll show you some other cards that I made in just a moment here. So first of all, you can turn it to a horizontal orientation, and this corner bloom stencil is so cool. You can just kind of move it wherever you want on your composition. So this one I just showed basically the same design but turned on its side. And now here you can see you can use the stencil again in the upper other side corner and add some more of the blooms, and that's a little bit different option. Now here I was playing with colors, so kind of the same layout as the first card, but you know, using a pinkish red color instead. And then here, same thing, different colors, but with a darker sentiment to see how that looked. And this one all the way around the card, and then this one I kind of shifted the card and got that cool shadow look with the kind of block letters. So those are some very simple, easy ways that you could use it differently. Obviously you can go crazy with the different colors. I was just kind of playing around trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my 5 and 10. But here's another easy way that you can kind of dress up your card a little bit if this is too plain for your liking. So I'm just going to get out some of these sequins. They're kind of white with a pretty iridescent color. I'm just laying down some liquid glue in odd numbers on the card, and then I'm just going to attach those. So this is a obvious quick way to dress up your card and give it a little something extra. You could also use like a shimmery splatter if you wanted to do that for the card. And then on this one I'm going to show you another option. I'm going to take another sentiment from this Pink Fresh Studio stamp set, and I'm going to put a sentiment on the inside of the card. So I'm just using my bigger Misty here just because I need to be able to open up the card, and it's just easier to do with this bigger Misty. So I'm figuring out where this sentiment is going to go, and then I decide, you know, I'm going to add a little something extra to this. So I get the stencil back out, and I don't even need the ink pads, guys, because if you know me, you know I haven't cleaned my ink brushes in between. So I'm just using some of the residual ink on the brush just to kind of continue the design onto the inside of the card. But as you can see, it's much more subtle, and I'm just kind of, you know, lightly doing it just to give kind of the illusion of the design, but not to take away that space where I could write on the inside of the card. So now I'm going to put it back in that big Misty and then just stamp down the sentiment here. And I decided to use the Aquatini color instead of the yellow because I really wanted to make sure it could stand out against where I ink blended. And it says, "You are capable of amazing things." So the front says, "Today is a good day for a good day, and you are capable of amazing things." So here's all the cards together, just some ideas, but honestly the possibilities are endless. I also did a rainbow card with the stencil, so be sure to check out this and the rest of the awesome March release at A Colorful Life Designs. And I'll also link the playlist for my other 5 and 10 videos if you want to check those out. So I appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye.